Hey, what's up, guys? Thank you guys so much for tuning into my channel. I have always struggled with my weight, but in 2019, I hit rock bottom completely. After having a loved one pass away, dealing with personal health issues as well as depression, I decided to put everything on pause, including work, and take back control of my life from the inside out. As far as losing weight, I tried almost everything you can think of. I have been working out for years, but very inconsistently with different trainers. I tried body contouring tactics like cool sculpting and laser lipo, even diet pills, you name it, but I still cannot get past the 200-pound threshold. In 2020, though, I said enough was enough and I stopped making excuses, got organized, got laser focused, and started taking actions towards my goal of losing 50 pounds. So here's my story, including 8 things that I did to drop 50 pounds and keep it off. It was a huge part of my self-love journey, really. I'm all about body positivity and loving yourself for where you are, being kind to yourself. And, while I'm an advocate for that, I do feel like a big part of self-love is also being honest with yourself. And when I was doing my shadow work and I was being honest with myself, one of the biggest things for me was that I was not happy with my weight. I had gained so much weight. Like I gained, they say the freshman 15. Honestly, in college, I gained like 30, 40 pounds. And after graduating, I just kept gaining. Like the more I was working, the more I was gaining. I explained to you guys in my last video how long production hours can go. And so when you're working, 13, 14-hour days, it's very easy to not take care of yourself. Like especially when you're so deep into the work, and especially when you're on sets and on different shows where they provide you like free food every day and free crafty every day. And a lot of times those options are unhealthy options and you're always on the go. Like sometimes, depending on what show I was on, I would be traveling to different states as well as sometimes even different countries. And so when you live life on the go, it's hard to really plan and have that consistency that you need to lose weight or even maintain your weight. And so just throughout the years post-graduation, I gained so much weight and I just was not happy, was not comfortable with how I personally was looking. I had a lot of friends who were telling me, Miesha, you look fine. But when I started telling people how much I weighed, they were like, what? You're lying. I was 230 pounds. 230 pounds. And of course that fluctuated because I was always like, I had periods where I would be really active and like working out with a personal trainer. And sometimes, I had the consistency within my job to meal prep, to eat healthy, to plan, but that just was not always the case because I was freelancing, going from show to show. So it really just started being dependent on what project I was working. And so 2020, I committed to making that change. I put it on my vision board that I was going to lose 60 pounds. And as soon as January 2nd hit, I hit the floor running. And one of the things that I really stressed to myself was the show that I was on at the time. I could take advantage of the consistency and the opportunity that I had. I'm not going to mention what show that I was working on, but I was working in a writer's room at the time and we were eating lunch every day at the same time. We had crafty and we had free lunch every day, but I was in control of what I could eat. I had that control and I also was able, I was in one specific place as opposed to being out in the field, which is a term, I'll place it down here what being out in the field means as a producer, but we were in a writer's room every day. And so I could meal prep my meals and bring them in with me to work. And that just made it so much more easier for me to keep track of what I was eating. And I do want to give the disclaimer that I am not a registered or licensed nutritionist, dietitian. I am not, a trainer or any of those things. And so I'm going to just be sharing with you guys what worked for me. And I want to emphasize that because what worked for me might not work for you. So with that being said, here are my 8 steps that I took in 2020 to lose 40 pounds. The number one step that I took was finding an accountability partner. And the thing about it is, with an accountability partner, life happens. Life happens to all of us. Things happen with school, with work, different relationships, traumatic situations happen. And so I personally feel like it was helpful for me to surround and align myself with like-minded people who were also not even just focused solely on losing weight, but who were committed to living a healthier lifestyle. So my best friend, she had lost a lot of weight like throughout the years. And obviously like we were always in touch with each other. So I would call her up and she would be working out or meal prepping. And that would really inspire me. There were other women who I went to Howard with, or went to just like maybe I came across them in life in general, and we were following each other on Instagram, and I just saw them in the gym all the time, posting videos of their meal prep on Instagram, not even trying to be influencers or anything, just genuinely committed to living a healthier life. And so I never hesitated to hit those people up and like get advice and get tips and get insight, and also like talking to them about their journey. Those are things that inspire me. Honestly, like another thing that I often did, I would go to YouTube, okay? YouTube University. I would go to YouTube and I would literally just search weight loss videos, and just watch people's journey. That always motivates me. But I do feel like finding an accountability partner is a really good first step. And that person, hopefully you can rely on them to check in with and gain motivation from. If you're lacking motivation, find motivation. I mean, my best friend would send me just videos of her getting it in the gym, like on the treadmill, just sprinting. And I'd be like, yes, I love that. Okay. And I would just be motivating myself to get in the gym and get to work. The second thing that I did that I feel like is very important is I was drinking a lot of water every day. I always aimed for a gallon. So a lot of people would laugh at me because I would be lugging, and I still to this day, like I will lug a gallon of water around with me to the gym. If I'm chilling at my friend's house, I'll pull up with my jug. Now, if you are not a fan of water like I am, like I love water. I could drink water all day. Me personally, I feel like water is really one of the only things that makes me feel refreshed. And that's been the case since I was a kid, weirdly enough. I never really liked drinking a lot of juice because it would just make me not feel great. I know that it might sound hard to do, but it's just something that I did that I found really helpful, that really kept me refreshed, that really, it helped get even with my bowel movements. And I just felt really good drinking that water. But on a weight loss journey, I do feel like it's important to drink, as much water as possible. They say at least 64 ounces of water. I would say with weight loss, drink at least half your body weight in water. And if you want to go all out, like I personally was trying to do, I would even aim for a gallon a day. So the third thing that I did, and I know that I might lose a lot of people here, is I logged all of my meals and I only ate between 1,300 and 1,400 calories a day. And I want to emphasize that that was within the first 5 months of the year, because again, once I got to a certain point, I switched up what I was doing completely, and you'll understand that more as we get more into this video. I tracked my meals every day, and I did so by logging them into an app called MyFitnessPal. MyFitnessPal is very easy to use. It is straight and simple to the point. And what I love about MyFitnessPal is the scanner that they have. So if you are cooking and meal prepping, you can just scan all of the ingredients per meal, and that helps you keep track of them. The good thing about MyFitnessPal is most restaurants, they have logged in their program already, so you could easily go in there and find your food items. Now, there are some times where I would go to a restaurant and they weren't in MyFitnessPal. And so I would do two things. I would either ask the restaurant if they had a if they had nutrition logs of their food items. Some did, some didn't. If they didn't have a nutrition log of their food items for that restaurant, what I would do is find similar items on the MyFitnessPal app and log them that way. And so using MyFitnessPal, that just made it very easy for me to keep track of what I was eating every day. If the scale didn't move like how I wanted it to, I would go to my food diary and say, what did I eat this week, or what can I switch up next week? And just kind of went from there, trying to modify and see what was working and what wasn't. The fourth thing that I did was I did not drink alcohol. Okay, I know what you're thinking. So I did drink alcohol, but only socially. I know that that's really hard for a lot of people. I get it. I personally am not a drinker. I don't like the taste of alcohol. Now, I will drink champagne. I will drink wine all day, especially give me a Cabernet Sauvignon and I'm good for the night, okay? But I just feel like for my weight loss journey, especially what I was doing in the first few months of the year, I just refrained from drinking it altogether, just because I didn't desire it as much. And then, once I hit a certain point and I started switching up my regimen, my diet, and my exercise routines, then I started incorporating alcohol back into my life, but only socially. Like I'm not at home just taking shots. And I know a lot of people can't relate to that because 2020 was just such a mess. 2020 was for the streets, okay? And I get it. So like a lot of people were doing like the take shots at home challenges. I was not doing that. I was only when me and my friends went to picnics, or we had get-togethers at our houses, or I was with family, was I drinking. And I'm sorry, but that's just, I have to be honest, that's something that I did not do, and I do feel like that helped a lot, especially during the earlier part of the year, because I was doing keto. And it's just like, if you know anything about keto, you just can't, like, you can't really drink alcohol. I mean, I guess they say the low alcohol with the lowest amount of carbs is like a vodka. But again, it just was not that big of a loss for me. Like because I don't normally desire to drink anyway. It's just something that I do socially. Number 5. So, diet. I mean, I personally have heard that, what you eat is 80% of the journey. What I did for the first 2 months of 2020 is I did keto. And a lot of people say, what is keto? So keto is high fat and low carb. From what I've heard from other professionals is you could either do high fat and low carb, or high carb and lower fat. You can't do both, but for keto specifically, the keto diet consists of high fat and low carbs. And essentially, based on the research I've done, what you're doing is tricking your body into burning your fat for fuel, for energy. And it really worked for me, honestly, guys. Like, I was shocked. I was calling up my best friend and I was like, I'm like losing 1 or 2 pounds every day. I watched so many YouTube videos and heard so much about people's journeys. I was following like different keto influencers on Instagram, and I just decided to try it and stick to it. And baby, I lost 30 pounds in 2 months on keto. I mean, I'll do another video on like all about keto. So comment below if that's something that you're interested in learning more about. But keto was very, very helpful for me. And the thing about it was logging my meals on MyFitnessPal helps me with keto because it breaks it down. The app, MyFitnessPal app, breaks your food down into macro groups. And, you know, if you don't know, the three macros are fats, carbs, and protein. And like I said, keto is all about, you know, high fat, low carbs, high good fat, because that's the thing. It's like a lot of people try to do keto and they get it twisted and they think, oh, like I could have like all the meat and the bacon and then this and then that. It's like, no, there are good fats and there are bad fats. So you do have to be careful with it, especially to see results. But MyFitnessPal definitely helped me. And I might do another video on all about keto just to go in more depth about that. But again, keto was a big part of my weight loss, and I lost the 30 pounds very quickly. I will say I did personally hit a plateau doing keto. And so I essentially had to switch up my diet, and I started incorporating carbs back into my diet and more so focusing on a balanced diet, especially because I got in the gym and I started doing some lifting. So yeah, but even with my diet, I was not going crazy. Like even incorporating carbs back into my diet, I still was not going crazy. Okay, there is a science to this, guys. And again, happy to do another video and go into depth about how it works, and maybe even bring in some professionals, like speak to some professionals with you guys, because I learned so much in 2020 and I would love to share that knowledge with you guys. So comment below and let me know if that's something that you guys are interested in. But diet is a big part of the weight loss journey. So there are going to have to be some adjustments that you make regardless, especially if you're eating out all the time, eating fast food all the time, drinking all the time, which don't get me wrong, like you can drink alcohol. It's not like you can't drink. You absolutely can, but it just has to be in moderation. Everything in moderation is a big key to weight loss. Number 6 was exercise. So when I was doing keto, as I mentioned, one of the things that it was easy for me. Again, this was the first 2 months of 2020. So what I personally committed to doing myself was going to the gym. I challenged myself to go to the gym at least 4 times a week and do an hour of cardio. Cardio is the easiest thing to do when you go to a gym, just because it's like you don't have to think about it. And this is why, like, I personally like to have trainers, because especially when you're just getting started, you might not know what to do necessarily to hit your goals that you're going for, especially if you don't want to be skinny and you want to gain muscle and you want abs and you want glutes and stuff like that. Like, you know, I had 60 pounds to lose. And so my focus starting out for those first 2 months was simply to burn fat. So what I committed to for the first 2 months, January and February of 2020, I was doing an hour of cardio at least 4 times, sometimes 5 days a week. And that really helped. And I think that doing this in conjunction with keto, as well as the next thing that I'm going to tell you guys about, I feel like that is also what helped me drop the 30 pounds. Again, eventually I hit a plateau. Like, yes, I lost 30 pounds, but then I started to hit a plateau. You know, COVID came and turned everybody's world upside down. The gyms were closed. And so what I started doing was just running outside. I literally ran, like the first time I did 3 miles, and you know, it wasn't a straight run for me starting out. I would run a mile and then walk until I felt like I could run again. And then I would run again until I felt like I was about to, until I felt like it was, my body was telling me I needed to stop. I would stop, and then I would walk and I would run. And I did that for 3 miles, and that I kind of got used to it. And the more I did it, the further I was able to go and the longer I was able to run. So eventually I got up to a point where I was running 3 miles legit every day. Of course, I was pacing myself, and I have line sisters and friends and stuff who are runners. And, sometimes we would challenge each other. We would be posting on Instagram, like sending motivational, text messages to one another. And we were just getting it in. But the thing is, like, yes, it's good to motivate, but you never want to compare yourself to people. Because I have one line sister who is just a beast, okay? She would run 3 miles in like 20 minutes. And I'm like, huh? Okay, yeah, not doing that. You know what I mean? Like, but again, you can't compare yourself to people. Like, just use those things as motivation and go at your pace. Period. Like, and the more you do it, the more you'll be able to push yourself. And I thought that was just a beautiful experience within itself. So in addition to running, what I also found really helpful, there's a gym in Los Angeles, California, that is Black owned by a Black woman who was offering free virtual training class. The name of the gym is Thrive Health Lab. Shout out to Lanicia Vicnair, who's also my pro fight, by the way. But yeah, she was offering free classes and like free virtual courses via Instagram, or free workouts, really free guided workouts via Instagram. So I took advantage of that in my house, and my roommate would come out into the living room and it'd be like a sweat fest in there. And I'm like going for like hours. Like I would literally do a HIIT workout for an hour straight and then run outside like 3 miles. I was just going that hard just because it was like we were in a pandemic and we had time. Okay. So, but eventually it's like my body just got into the habit of being active. The thing about exercise is it makes you feel great. Like, I don't know about you guys, but whenever I work out, it motivates me to eat healthy because I'm like, I just did all that work. Like, I'm not about to throw this work away. So it motivates me, and I just feel good. I feel great. So eventually I got down to 40 pounds, like just doing that alone from home, right? Then it got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm starting to look a little slim pickings here. I don't want to get too skinny. That has never been my personal goal. Like, I love my curves. I just wanted to lose weight, and once I got to like a weight that I was comfortable with, I was like, okay, it's time to start toning. So what I did was I had found a trainer who was a bodybuilder, and he knew of a private gym in Los Angeles that was still open. And we just started getting it in, like really getting it in. And, I started seeing my muscles. I started seeing my abs. My booty was on perk. I mean, my booty was on perk when I was doing the HIIT classes with the Thrive Health Lab, especially because like they would literally have like ass and abs sessions. But yeah, the 7th thing that I did on my weight loss journey was intermittent fasting. So for those of you who don't know, intermittent fasting is an eating pattern that cycles between eating and fasting. It's very simple. One of the most popular intermittent patterns is a 16-8 ratio, meaning that you don't eat for 16 hours and then you have an 8-hour window to eat. And what I was doing, like, obviously you want to adjust that to whatever works best for your lifestyle and your work. But what I personally was doing that I felt was reasonable, I mean, it kind of took some adjustment at the beginning, but it wasn't that bad of an adjustment. And I literally got used to it till this day. It's really hard for me to eat before 12 because I'm so used to not getting hungry until 12. So I feel like I trained my body in that sense. But I would start eating at noon, and my cutoff time to eat was 8 p.m. So I would eat between 12 and 8, and that was my 8-hour window. And so from 8 until 12 p.m. the next day, I wouldn't have anything except for water. The eighth thing that I did on my weight loss journey was vitamins, taking vitamins. Now, this is something that I did not start incorporating into my weight loss journey until I started working out with my personal trainer and doing a lot more heavy lifting. But I do notice a difference. I feel like the biggest difference with the vitamins, aside from just the fact that, I'm making sure that I am getting all of the vitamin sources that I need with the various vitamin regimen that I am on, which I'll be doing another video showing you guys all the vitamins that I do take. But the biggest thing that the vitamins have contributed, I feel personally, is boosting my metabolism and helping burn fat cells altogether. I mean, I feel the difference. Some of the vitamins that I take also give me more energy when I'm doing my workouts. So yeah, I will say in 2021, the goal for me is to lose a little bit more weight, but more so putting an emphasis on building muscle and toning. I want to be really, really toned. And that might mean the scale going up a little bit. Who knows? Like, hopefully I can cut a little bit more. Hopefully I can cut a little bit more weight before we just go heavily into the muscle building, but we shall see. But I think this year I'll definitely be more focused on my muscle gains as opposed to seeing the scale go down. Definitely comment below and let me know what your goals are for 2021. I would love to hear it. If you guys have insight, more insight, feel free to drop that below as well. And keep your negativity to yourself. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything. That's okay. Just like the video and keep it moving and share it. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Again, be sure to like, share, subscribe, comment. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.